This spring, we're starting our journey to growing our food like we do every single year, as much of it we possibly can. And that starts today with our cold weather crops, our brassica garden, that I'm going to show you how I set up, how we start this journey. You can actually see in this room right here, we've got grow lights. That's where these plants behind me were for the past maybe 2.5 weeks. It usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks before they go out into the garden. And they're frost tolerant, broccoli and cabbage, so they're a great cold weather crop. We're well over a month before our last frost date here in Wisconsin, and I'm putting them in the garden still because they can tolerate frost. So you can get a head start by growing your own food from seed inside your house first. And these are just shop lights. These are nothing fancy. They're just shop lights. Purchased off of Amazon, LED, so that it's not super expensive for our electric bill. And this is just a really cheap greenhouse that I use where about a week before I actually put the plants into the garden, we put them out here to harden off an hour a day, 3 hours a day, 5 hours a day, until they're out here for a full 24 hours. What we need to do now is fill up the rest of my raised bed. I'll show you why. I got another load of dirt. We're going to load up the trailer onto the truck, fill up the raised bed, and then we can start putting these plants right into the garden. The nice thing about these types of little greenhouses is that they're so portable, and you don't have to be confined to one area. So we have our broccoli up here, cabbage plants down here, and more broccoli down here. This is all of the cabbage and broccoli that would get most people through the entire year. I know it's hard to believe. So here's our dirt, here's our wheelbarrow. So in an ideal situation, you just take the dirt from the trailer, put it in the raised bed without having to use the wheelbarrow at all. Being in the middle of the garden, as you can see here, you are going to need some kind of wheelbarrow. We've got our broccoli here, all of these plants. This is our cabbage, and then we've got a few more broccoli in these. I just topped this off with about 4 inches of soil, which was definitely necessary considering it went down tremendously. And if you compare it to this raised bed over here, you'll see the difference. There's a good 6 inches. Now there's about 2 inches. This entire 18-foot raised bed is going to be filled with as many brassica plants, that being broccoli and cabbage, as we can possibly fit in here. This is the broccoli we got. And the reason why we got this particular species of broccoli, Calabrese, is because we're looking for a head of broccoli that's going to get really big, kind of like the broccoli you get in the grocery store. This is the one that resembles what we're looking for the most. Oftentimes when people purchase broccoli from the store and they purchase just the general brands that they find at Walmart or whatever, Lowe's and Home Depot, they end up getting broccoli that has little shoots, which is fine because you can cut the little shoots and they keep regrowing, but we're looking for big harvests that we eat right away or preserve for long-term storage. Right here, the broccoli get 30 to 36 inches tall. The cabbage needs to go on this side because that side is north so that the broccoli can get most of the sun over there. All you need is a basic trowel like this. It's very simple. Always dig the hole first. Ask me how I know before you take them out of these little containers. So I'll take this one here in the corner, tip it up, loosen it. I use these containers every single year. Same ones. It's really simple. Place it in the ground. With one hand, hold it. The other hand, press it firmly. And I like to make sure it's a little imprinted around there. It's a little lower, I guess you can call it, so that when it does rain, it does funnel water down to the plant. 32, 33, 34, 35. 35 broccoli plants in this area. And if we check in a month or two, you won't even recognize this anymore. It's going to be completely different. One thing I always do if I have plants in these little 2-inch pots is I set them out ahead of time. Now that we have as many plants in here as possible, as far as what can fit, 34 broccoli plants, 6 huge cabbage plants. Well, they will be huge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I mulch them. That's the next step. You have to mulch if you want to ensure great success. It's going to help with weeds, retaining water, helping with disease in the soil. I took a lap around the yard and now we have free mulch leaves. And you don't need a lawnmower to do this. You can rake them up, put them in a plastic trash can and take your weed whacker, kind of like a blender. You can chop them up that way. You do want to mulch before you put them on your garden and not just put them directly on your crops or around your crops. And this is another very important step. You don't need a lot of leaves to do an entire garden bed like this, just a few. And I put them wherever there is not a plant, and then as the plants grow up, I'll add more later. It's completely done. Leaving that end completely empty. I'll show you why later on. All of the cabbage here, all of the broccoli is completely mulched in with about 1 inch of leaves. So now we have a new bed, all kind of figured out here with the rest of the cabbage. On that side over there, let's talk about that. I've got the cold frame with some bird netting, which I don't have to use. You can definitely skip that step. The reason why I do that is to prevent rabbits or deer from trying to get into that. And I know that if a deer really wanted to, they could chew through it or whatever, but they don't. And what's really great about that stuff too is the fact that if I really need to on a cold night, I can put plastic over that and keep those from dying in the frost. Although they are frost tolerant, sometimes we do get some shockingly low temperatures. And the cold frame acts with two purposes: one, to keep the bird netting, and also to keep the plastic up. This is definitely a step you can skip. It's hard to see now, but I do have all the broccoli in here. On that side, again, that's gonna get like 3 feet tall. And I've got the cabbages planted over here. Likewise, on this side, I just ran out of dirt to complete filling the rest of the raised bed over there. I need like maybe one more wheelbarrow full. But on this side over here, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more cabbages, plus 8 would make it 24. 24 cabbages that should get to be 14 pounds a piece. That's massive. They're big. And so I don't know, right now with the spacing, I was recommended to be 3 feet apart from each other. That's a lot of space. However, I'm just going to see how it goes. I know I don't have the bird netting and everything over here with the cold frame. So hopefully no deer come and eat this, or rabbits or anything else. The really cool thing about our property, fingers crossed, is that we don't have deer problems in our garden, even though there's deer all around our property. It's really weird. They just don't come in our garden yet. It just takes one deer, and then other deer may follow. Especially springtime, this time of year, they like to herd together, so you usually see one, there's more. Then the very last thing I would recommend you use when you fertilize after the plants have been transplanted into the garden. And this is just what I do. You can do whatever you want, of course. But what I use is organic fish emulsion fertilizer. Highly concentrated, lots of nitrogen. That's what that 5's for on there. And I put it in my seed starting waterer. And this is pretty tiny, it's pretty finesse, but the reason why I do that is because if I were to take a regular waterer or the hose, you've got that big shower, the big shower head on there, and I don't want to put any more stress on the plants. I don't want to get the plants wet. I want to get the roots, and I need to get to the roots with this. So I like to go around each plant, just make a circle around each plant. You can get in real close here, and it's nice and finesse. Just a smidge there, just another smidge. Cabbage is here, fully mulched, fertilized. Cabbage and broccoli over there, that's what I call my brassica bed. Enough brassica, in my opinion, to feed my family for a year, especially if we decide to plant broccoli halfway through the year. If you're wondering how we access the plants in there, either to get weeds out, fertilize, water, add mulch, remove mulch, it's very simple. This bird netting is attached with zip ties up here and on the back side, but it's not attached with zip ties anywhere on this side. It's folded over. We can only access the plants on this side, but I've got pretty long arms and I can reach those plants back there. All I have to do is unhook this. It's on a small little nail, stainless steel nail. Unhook it this way, and it's nailed from here all the way to the end of the raised bed. And then I just kind of hang it up on the top. We'll stay up there, the bird netting. Then I just reach and do what I have to do, place it back down. It's very simple. If you'd like to know how I design and set up and build the infrastructure for the garden that you just saw me working in, click this video up here. If you want to find out more about our channel and learn more about other videos I have on our channel, make sure you subscribe, but you can also watch this video right down here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.